Your Excellency Shri Indramani Pandeyji, respected staff of the Indian Embassy, and the august audience gathered here today. Friends, how often is it that you come across a young lad who, setting aside his aspirations, financially helps his elder brother to chase and achieve his dreams? How often is it that you come across a leader who turns down an opportunity to head a government and instead steps aside to allow a teammate to be at the helm of affairs? I'm sure that all of you would agree that it is not very often that we see such a rare phenomenon. But then, Sardar Patel was no ordinary person. He belonged to a very rare breed of men who made their life their message. Well, he taught the world what it takes to be a true human being and a legendary leader. Then is it small wonder that we revere him as one of the noblest and finest leaders to have steered our country. As we are gathered here today to celebrate the life and times of the Iron Man of India and to pay tribute to him on his 142nd birth anniversary, a question may linger on many a mind. How is it that an unassuming man from a very modest background rise to become one of the brightest luminaries in the political landscape of India? As all of you are aware, Vallabhbhai was born into a very modest agricultural family in Nadiad, Gujarat, was given the epithet, the Iron Man of India, for having integrated 565 princely states into the Union of India, for his great statesmanship and his diplomacy in sculpting India as we see it today. But I suppose not too many of us are aware that he was iron-willed in every dimension, be it physical, emotional, or mental. When Vallabhbhai matriculated at the age of, relatively late age of 22 years, he was generally believed to be destined to a very average life. He was thought to be unambitious. But this young lad himself had different plans. He harbored huge dreams. He quickly passed the state law examinations, studying with borrowed books, and started practicing as an advocate. When he had saved enough money to buy a ticket and a pass to go to England to pursue his law there, with great mental courage, he handed it all over to his elder brother, who too nursed a similar ambition. If we do not term a person with such mental stamina as the Iron Man, who else deserves this sobriquet? Vallabhbhai Patel was physically strong ever since childhood. As the earlier speaker said, he was believed to have treated a boy by using an iron rod unflinchingly. Later during his youth, he contracted the bubonic plague, which killed lakhs of people across India. But being the Iron Man that he was, he survived this epidemic and went on to remain fine and active till almost his final years. Going by the pictures that we see of him in a lean frame, he seems to have given our Bollywood heroes very serious fitness goals to aspire for. If this does not make Vallabhbhai an Iron Man in the physical sense too, what else could? Vallabhbhai Patel lost his beloved wife, Javed to cancer at the very young age of 33 years. When he received news of her departure, he was cross-examining a witness in the court. But with great emotional fortitude, he continued with the cross-examination and went on to win the case. Most importantly, despite his young age, he refused to remarry since he was deeply in love with his wife. What a romance it was! And he remained single till the very last. Doesn't this emotional grit define him as an Iron Man in the emotional dimension too? It was after his wife's departure that he left to England to pursue his law studies. On returning to India, he started practicing all over again and quickly established a flourishing practice. But the call of the hour was too loud for him to ignore. He decided to join India's struggle for freedom. In September 1917, Patel in a speech urged all Indians to sign a petition drafted by Gandhiji demanding Swaraj. The next year, he met Gandhiji, who urged him to become the secretary of Gujarat Sabha, which is the Gujarati arm of Indian National Congress. Once again, it was time for great sacrifice, jettisoning his flourishing career and material ambitions. Patel fought against the forced servitude of Indians to Europeans. He was a catalyst in a statewide revolt where he mobilized lakhs of people to oppose the payment of tax in Kerala. Following his success there, Patel's stature grew rapidly and he was elected president of the Gujarat Pradesh Congress Committee. He became a massive force to reckon with in the non-cooperation movement by mobilizing huge funds and tens of thousands of volunteers as members. He was at the helm of the Satyagraha in Nagpur when Gandhiji was imprisoned. During these turbulent times, Patel saw to it that he cemented the bonding between the various communities and castes which had all along been divided on socio-economic lines. In 1928, when Bardoli was reeling under the double disasters of floods and a steep hike in taxes, Patel spearheaded a struggle to oppose the taxes. His steely resolve brought him victory, and Patel metamorphosed into Sardar Patel, the chief. Sardar Patel was elected President of Congress in 1931 and was later imprisoned along with Gandhiji in Yerwada prison, where the bonding between the two grew very strong. On the outbreak of World War II, Patel supported Nehru's decision to withdraw the Congress from central and provincial legislatures. He strongly upheld Gandhiji's do or die slogan and was very vocal in asking the British to quit India. All through these traumatic times, Sardar Patel kept going in and out of prisons. Meanwhile, India was getting ready to find her identity as an independent entity. In the 1946 elections for the Congress presidency, Patel stepped down in favor of Nehru at the request of Gandhiji. The election's importance stemmed from the fact that the elected president would go on to head independent India's first government as the Prime Minister. So, Sardar Patel went on to take charge as independent India's Deputy Prime Minister and Home Minister. His key role in integrating the princely states into the Indian Union will be etched in the annals of history forever. His contribution to the nation post-independence was momentous, and the next speaker will be throwing light on that. Friends, now I'm sure that you have a convincing answer to my initial question as to how an unassuming lad became one of India's most influential leaders. Let us, as a nation, with immeasurable gratitude in our hearts, with folded hands and with bowed head, salute this great man for the man that he was. Happy birthday, Sardar. Jai Hind.